Steps up in the pocket, takes off. Lots of room up the middle. On! On! On!
The team that would become one of professional football's greatest dynasties, the San Francisco 49ers, started its life as westward settlers of a pioneer football league. But from the very beginning, the 49ers were embraced by sports fans throughout the Bay Area.
They were the first major league professional team in San Francisco or anywhere in Northern California. So they have a residue of loyalty from that era that has carried forth to the present.
The 49ers were like the Giants. They got here first. They came in 1946. The All-America Football Conference was like the equivalent to the AFL's Fools Club. So the 49ers started this franchise here with the Morabito brothers. The Morabitos made a fortune in lumber. But they're kind of old football guys, tough San Francisco Italian kids, and they wanted to have their own football team.
When they started, the big thing in the Bay Area and around the country was college football. Pro football in general wasn't nearly as big as college football, and the 49ers actually had to play a couple of games the first season on Saturday because the Catholic schools in this area commandeered Kezar for Sunday games.
Their first home was rustic Kezar Stadium.
I had a chance to go to a couple of games at Kezar, which was a crazy part of San Francisco. So the bars and everything there were, it's just a wild and the real San Francisco tradition. Crowds in the stands, if you're in the wrong section, look out.
And you had to come out of a tunnel from the dressing room. There was a place in between your dressing room, about 5 yards, where the fans used to stand up above and yell things at you.
Kezar was probably that and Forbes. Was it Forbes Field in Pittsburgh, the old baseball where the Steelers played in the baseball park? Those were probably the two ultra toilets of the league at the time. The high schools would use it, some of the colleges would play there. So by the middle of the season, there would be no grass in the middle of the field. It'd be just pure mud slop. And then they wouldn't cover it. It was a dump. It was a total dump.
While Kezar was uninviting, 49ers management tried to build a team that appealed to Bay Area fans.
They tried to get as much as possible of college flavor to the team.
Most of the players from the original 49ers were from Stanford or Cal or USC or schools like that.
Buck Shaw, the first coach, had coached at Santa Clara. Frankie Albert, their quarterback, had been a star at Stanford. They tried to get as many players as possible that either played college ball in the Bay Area or had played on the service teams in the Bay Area, so there would be an identification. They weren't coming in with an absolutely new team.
By 1950, the All-American Football Conference had folded, while the perennial champion Cleveland Browns were an obvious choice to join the National Football League. The 49ers were invited for one simple reason. They represented a natural rival for the Los Angeles Rams.
Now meet that terrific Titan, Bob No. 7 Waterfield, quarterback extraordinary.
The Rams were a true product of Hollywood, with plenty of star power and razzle-dazzle. For much of the 1950s, the 49ers struggled to measure up to their California neighbors.
The Ram 49er rivalry was very intense. And the players really knew they were in a game when they played each other.
When the 49ers came into the league, they still didn't have enough good football players to compete in the National Football League. And the Rams at that time were a great football team. We had football players coming out of our ears. So we naturally beat them pretty good, although the rivalry was really great.
In those days, the Los Angeles Coliseum was wide open, all the seating, they didn't close off one end zone, and you can get 100,000 people in there. Well, they would draw over 100,000 people to watch the 49ers play the Rams. Those were big games, you know, those aerial shows of Waterfield and Van Brocklin against Albert and Tittle.
While the quarterbacks drew the headlines, the 49ers' running game was becoming the best in football.
Kezar Stadium is crammed to overflowing for a battle between two titans of the Western Conference, the Detroit Lions and the San Francisco 49ers. On the second play of the game, the 49ers show the Lions just how rough an afternoon it's going to be, as Hugh McElhenney bursts through the Lion line and streaks downfield. Not a Lion can lay him low, as the 49ers jump away to a 7-0 lead.
In their first full decade in San Francisco, the 49ers were always the bridesmaid, never the bride. 6 winning seasons translated to just 1 playoff appearance, a 1957 loss to Detroit. Their claim to fame was perhaps the greatest backfield in football history.
There was no greater running backs than Hugh McElhenney, John Henry Johnson, and Joe Perry in the same backfield.
Oh, it made quarterbacking so easy. How'd you like to just get in the huddle and call anything? And you had 3 Hall of Fame running backs ready to carry the ball.
It began with running back Joe the Jet Perry. Number 34 Perry was the first running back in NFL history to rush for 1,000 yards 2 years in a row. And by 1956, he had become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. In 1952, the Jet was joined by the King, halfback Hugh McElhenney, number 39.
He had a style to me that was flowing like a will-o'-the-wisp, and it seemed like at times he had eyes in the back of his head.
There's a snap. Tittle hands off to McElhenney, opening to the right side. He's to the 39-yard line, up to the 40, now to the 45, to midfield.
I think I ran more with fear than I did of confidence of running. Fear of being embarrassed, fear of getting caught from behind, fear of making a fool of yourself. You just want to do well.
Then in 1954, the 49ers added halfback John Henry Johnson, number 35. Johnson gave the 49ers starting backfield its 3rd breakaway threat, but his love of contact set him apart as a runner and a blocker.
I'm convinced if John Henry Johnson had been a prize fighter, he'd have been heavyweight champion of the world, because he did dish out punishment. There's no doubt of that.
When the guy get in my reach, I'll pop out at him like a snake or something, you know, and knock him back off the feet.
Each a Hall of Fame talent, each complementing the others perfectly. In 1954, their first year together, they set a 49ers team record for the most yards rushing in a season. With a 4th Hall of Famer, quarterback Y.A. Tittle, running the show, San Francisco seemed destined for a championship. But troubles on the defensive side of the ball landed the 49ers in 3rd place. Then in 1955, Red Strader replaced Buck Shaw as head coach and brought with him a new offensive system. The $1 million backfield didn't adapt well.
On screen passes, John Henry would, I couldn't find him sometimes. And just as I turned to throw, he's not there, and then down I go, and I'd say, John Henry, where were you? What happened? And he'd say, well, AY or YA or XYZ or whatever your name is. He says, you got to find me any place on the field. They're paying you more money than anybody else.
This time, they set a record for fewest rushing attempts in a season. And why Strader didn't use the $1 million backfield became the $1 million question.
Joe and John Henry and I used to tell YA, you know, for Christ's sake, let us run the ball more instead of throwing it.
After just 4 wins in 1955, the 49ers fired Strader, and San Francisco's backfield again found its stride. In 1956, the 49ers went undefeated in their last 5 games and appeared to be on the verge of getting over the hump. But after the '56 season, the 49ers, without warning, traded John Henry Johnson to the Detroit Lions, breaking up the $1 million backfield.
Well, it was kind of a shocker, but the way I remembered, and the reason they traded him was he came in with a agent. And in those days, if you came in with an agent, you were traded.
One by one, the others would be traded too.
It was too bad that we couldn't stay together longer. I don't think you'll ever see a better foursome together on a football field.
After just 3 short seasons, the $1 million backfield was gone with no title to show for their efforts. But they will forever live on as a football rarity. 4 Hall of Famers taking residence in the same backfield. Paving the way for the $1 million backfield was number 79, Bob St. Clair, one of many San Francisco characters.
Big Bob, the Geek. Here's another one. I think it was Frankie Albert that nicknamed him the Geek. I think Bob is 6'6", 6'7". He was 275 pounds. He could run fast, and boy, he was fun to play behind.
McElhaney had the swagger and the aura, but the biggest character on the team was Bob St. Clair. I mean, here was a guy who was like 6'9", about 250 pounds, and ate raw meat, not rare steaks. Raw steaks.
Ever since I was a little kid, my grandmother used to feed me scraps of meat as she prepared the dinner. We lived with my grandmother. And I got a real taste, or I acquired a real taste for meat cold and raw.
Just take it out of the freezer, plop it on a plate, and bring it to me.
Bob would go out and catch some of the doves out there, wring the neck off, tear the heart out, and eat it.
And I said, these are my hors d'oeuvres, and I'd be throwing them in my mouth like M&Ms.
The primal nature of St. Clair's diet was nothing compared to the beastly play of defensive tackle Leo Nomellini, a man better known as Leo the Lion.
Leo was big, and he was strong, and he was smart. He was one great defensive tackle.
But I played 60 minutes for 9 years. I mean, 60 minutes a game. So I think I put up just as much as anybody that was after me. You understand?
Leo was one of the big guys, and he was so strong in his arms that he threw guys around just like nothing.
Leo's thing was that you never wanted to make him mad. You know, the offensive opponents never wanted to make him mad.
And we would have to make up stories about the other players, what they were saying about his family, or some of the silly type thing. And he would get really upset with things like that. That guy did this, Leo, and he said this about you, and and then Leo said, I'm going to kill that guy.
Nomellini also put his size and aggression to use as a pro wrestler.
He was the guy that fought Lou Thez for the wrestling championship in the offseason.
Amazing. He knocked down the ring posts, and it was just an amazing. I was almost going to jump in. I was over on the corner side of him. God, it was so exciting. He would always try to show me one of his new holds. And all of a sudden, he'd grab me and pull me back, and over went the chair. We broke furniture and everything else.
While Nomellini crushed furniture, linebacker Hardy Brown crushed opposing ball carriers.
He had an uncanny way of unloading his shoulder on a running back or an end. And boy, the next thing you do after you see Hardy hit him, the player that he hit is carried off.
There's a body count. I think he ended Glenn Davis's career, Tommy Harmon's career, a kid by the name of Perry at the Pittsburgh Steelers. He hit him so hard that his eye almost popped out.
I don't know that you see that anymore with players, and Hardy Brown laid out a lot of guys.
Brown learned his trade at the University of Tulsa.
And they teach you down there what they call a hump block, because you'd have to hump over, and then at the last second, and he would hump you. He would hump and throw that shoulder.
He was a player that you did not want to run over. And a lot of these big guys, they try to run over, and that was a big mistake. And he had put that shoulder, boom, and just wipe you out.
Even when you had the mask on, if he popped you in the head with that shoulder, he'd break your mask and he'd put you out of business.
Another player who put people out of business was number 85, Monty Stickles.
Stickles would drink out of a policeman's boot. He was one of the toughest, meanest, dirtiest players of his era.
Well, I would describe it as a guy that just went to work every Sunday, and you were the enemy, and I really wanted to destroy you. You had a different color on, and if I could wreck your leg or break your arm or knock your teeth out, I would. Yeah, I had a move that it was pretty illegal. If a guy's hand was on the ground, he's trying to get up, just stand and jump on it, stand on it with your cleats. Just come up behind a guy and hit him in the back of the head with a nose. I taped my wrist, the bone of my wrist, so I wouldn't break that. And I just time it, measure it, so I'd get him right in the line, right in the throat. Hit him right up under the throat. Stumble. What'd you do that for? Guys, I wanted to hit you with an elbow. What's the difference? But I wanted to destroy the man mentally and physically that was standing there beating on me, trying to beat me. This anger, this controlled rage would come out, and I'd go after you.
More than any other team in the National Football League, the San Francisco 49ers sustained a tradition of excellence at quarterback.
Over the years, the quarterback tradition became a part of the 49ers for one reason or another. It certainly started with Frankie Albert. Well, Frankie Albert was probably the individual person that was identified as the 49ers. Wasn't very large, but he was very active, much like Steve Young. Left-handed, can move all over the field.
When he faked that ball into the line to one of those backs, you better make sure that you had somebody watching him, because he'd be out around your other end bootlegging that ball.
Any play faking would totally confuse the opposition. And Frank was so deft in his faking, he took great pride in. And he could fake the entire defense and be found running over to the other side of the field with a ball, and people couldn't even figure out where he came from.
Albert brought an identity to the 49ers attack.
They were known as a throwing team, and that was kind of what the NFL wanted. Come away from college football with that 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Come see us, because we're going to put on an aerial circus. And nobody did it like the 49ers.
Well, there were so many years where they were the most exciting football team in the game. Wherever they'd go, people would want to watch them, win or lose. And a lot of that had to do with the quarterback.
Y.A. Tittle joined the 49ers in 1951. Within 2 years, he was the starting quarterback.
He was one of the top throwers of all time. He threw the ball as well as anybody could throw it. And all he needed was some protection and some receivers.
Y.A. Tittle, Y.A. Tittle is a guy that has to have total control. He's a true leader, great competitor, excellent thrower. Probably, you talk a lot about a lot of quarterbacks around the country, present and yesterday. Tittle was probably one of the most accurate throwers of the game of football, and that sucker had a tight sparrow on it all the time.
Tittle slung it deep, perfecting the alley-oop pass to R.C. Owens and the deep post to number 84, Billy Wilson. But the passing yards didn't always translate into victories.
They were a competitive team. I mean, they weren't the Packers and they weren't the Colts. But, they could put up a ton of points on anybody. And when you went to Kezar, that was sort of the deal. And everybody understood that. We may not beat Johnny Unitas, but we're going to get 40, and they're going to have to get 45 to win.
An innovation by head coach Red Hickey took the Niners' offense to yet another level. They called it the shotgun. And in 1961, it was the talk of the NFL.
Well, the shotgun was, it was brought out of desperation, really. We cannot beat the Colts the way we're doing. Nobody else could beat them, so who's to say that we could go in and beat them with what we had? So I dreamed up this formation. And the first time we shifted into the formation, the whole stands, they were going, ooh, they didn't know what was happening. It had been in the paper that we were going to use some kind of a spread formation, but they had no idea how extreme it was going to be. And they wanted to know, what is this thing? What are you doing when you spread out like that? What do you call this? And being an old country boy myself, I said it's kind of like using a shotgun. You spread out and just start firing. And we scored points like crazy. It was something that nobody knew how to stop.
San Francisco often wound up stopping themselves.
They had that period in the early 60s when Red Hickey decided he was going to alternate quarterbacks. He traded Tittle because Tittle couldn't run. And from the shotgun, he wanted the quarterback to run at least part of the time. So he traded him for Lou Cordileone. And even Cordileone said, they traded Whitey Tittle for me? You know, it was just maybe the worst trade in sports history.
Eventually, the shotgun was shelved. In 1962, the 49ers went back to basics and handed the offense to John Brodie. Brodie would lead the 49ers for over a decade.
Big blitz, halfback, just pass him up. I'll dump it to the fullback, and baby, we got a piece of cake. At least we can get him out of it.
Brodie had the arm, if not the aura, of his predecessor.
It was very difficult for John Brodie because he followed Whitey Tittle.
But John Brodie was a great quarterback. At Stanford, he was the man with the golden arm. You know, I mean, he really was a great quarterback. He just didn't have what Joe Montana had and Steve Young had, a defense.
Brodie's teams could score, but offense alone wasn't enough to contend for a championship.
The onus, the whole deal was always on the quarterback to get it done. And all quarterbacks took responsibility for it because we all knew we got too much when it went good. And there was no crying about it, just you're turning the tub.
Brodie was battered by opposing defenses, but that was nothing compared to the abuse he received from the 49ers fans.
Well, I was in high school at the time, and I was always the ball boy on the opponent's sideline. So one time when Unitas and Brodie were walking off together, and John Unitas did not have his helmet on, and John Brodie did have his helmet on, and he told Unitas, if you're walking off the field with John Brodie, you better put your helmet on, because these fans are throwing stuff at us.
And people loved him, hated him. So whenever the team would do poorly, it would be John that would catch hell from the fans.
Well, Brodie was doing very well, but you know, when the offense has to score so much, you know, that it puts so much pressure on the quarterback, and every interception, you know, every misplay is magnified.
At Kezar, they booed everybody, and I was the next in line, and they asked me how I felt about that, and I said, well, it's really between them and myself. And it just so happened about 2 weeks later, I was running on the field, and they always introduced the offense, and the whole Kezar Stadium stood up and booed. And I kind of gave them all the Portland salute. 1, 2, turned around, did it all the way around the stadium. And by the time I'd finished, they were laughing and clapping. And they never booed me again.
In 1968, San Francisco hired Dick Nolan as head coach. The move rejuvenated John Brodie. In 1970, he was named Player of the Year as San Francisco reeled off the first of 3 straight NFC West championships.
Now, I remember one game specifically, I think this was 72. John got hurt the early part of the season, a severe ankle sprain. Steve Spurrier comes in and plays most of the year. It's the last game of the year, I believe. Spurrier gets hurt, and Brodie takes his jacket off. And the crowd goes crazy, and he comes in and he directs a touchdown or 2 touchdown passes and saves the season. So, I mean, that sort of typified Brodie's relationship with the fans in San Francisco, sort of this love-hate relationship that ended in a love fest.
Linebacker Dave Wilcox and cornerback Jimmy Johnson led a defense that twice put the 49ers within a game of the Super Bowl. But in 1970, 71, and 72, the 49ers' championship dreams were ended abruptly by the Dallas Cowboys. Brody retired after the 1973 season. Over the next 5 years, the 49ers had 9 quarterbacks, 5 head coaches, and just 1 winning record. By 1979, it was time for a fresh start. In the 32nd year of existence, the San Francisco 49ers began a new era of football. On March 31st, 1977, the team became the property of Edward J. DeBartolo, Jr. In DeBartolo's first 2 seasons, the 49ers won a total of 7 games. His top priority was to find a head coach that could rebuild his floundering franchise. In 1979, DeBartolo hired Bill Walsh as head coach and general manager. Before joining the Niners, Walsh was an assistant coach for Paul Brown's Cincinnati Bengals.
Holy smoke, Bill. We keep trying that same darn thing and we keep getting knocked in our prat every time.
For 8 seasons under Brown, Walsh developed what is now called the West Coast offense.
This man sitting down.
Although Walsh was recognized for his offensive genius, many wondered if that would translate into a head coach.
So you're here, 5-step drops. If there's an intellectual side of football, I was heavily entrenched in that because I was calling the plays, putting the game plans together, things of that nature. People had come to the conclusion nobody can have this kind of a intellectual approach to the game and be tough. I recall Al Davis calling me one day and saying to me, "Bill, are you tough enough to be a head coach?" And I said, "Al, just look. If you want to talk about toughness, I was an amateur fighter, had 70 bouts. I mean, what do you need?"
All Walsh needed was a chance, and when it came, he chose the '79 draft as a starting point. In the 3rd round, Walsh took an undersized quarterback named Joe Montana, who spent most of his first season as Steve DeBerg's backup. In the 10th round, Walsh selected Dwight Clark, an unheralded wide receiver from Clemson University.
Dwight looked good to me, and I know he didn't look necessarily good to many other scouts. And as the draft progressed, many of our scouts said, "Coach, you can get him in the free agent market a month from now." And I said, "No, that man is going to be here, you watch." And so we drafted him.
The arrival of Clark, Montana, and Walsh in '79 did not have an immediate impact. In fact, it took Walsh nearly the entire season to equal the win total of 2 from the previous year. In 1980, the 49ers began to click. And while they only won a few games, Bill Walsh was winning over their confidence.
I don't think anybody can go into the stadium against us and feel safe with a victory.
That confidence would be tested in Week 14 against the Saints, a team that entered Candlestick Park with a 13-game losing streak.
That was just pathetic. That's pathetic.
Archie Manning was having his way with us, and all of a sudden it was 35-7.
At halftime, Bill was real unusual. We went in there expecting him to just be ballistic, and he came in and basically said, "Guys, it's 35-7. There's probably not a realistic chance we can win this game."
Which, to me, I'd never heard a coach even admit to that. But he said, "Let's go out and let's see the character of this team, and let's see what happens."
Big rush put on. He throws. He completes it underneath to Dwight Clark. He's the 40, the 45. He's the 50.
And we get 1 touchdown, and we score again, and just keep plugging away.
It's a foot race. The 10, the 5. Touchdown, 49ers.
That may be the one play that'll wake up the 49ers.
I remember the excitement level was, wow, we're back in this thing.
He's being rushed. Look out. He throws. He has Solomon open at the 5. Breaks a tackle. Goes to the outside. Touchdown, 49ers.
At that time, it was the greatest comeback in the history of the NFL. And it was utterly amazing, but you have to have that.
Elliott trying to find some room. He does. He goes in for the touchdown.
Because until you've done something like that, you can't pull it off. You can't believe you can do it.
It is long enough. It is good. Ray Wersching with the greatest comeback the 49ers have made.
The 49ers became, I think, the 49ers that day.
And after the game, Bill said to us, "We will pull for this game for the next decade."
As 1980 came to an end, Walsh's 49ers were putting fans in the stands and points on the board.
Montana throwing to Solomon. He got it. Touchdown, San Francisco.
The problem was, his ever-changing secondary couldn't keep opponents out of the end zone. By 81, Walsh had enough and decided to build a secondary through the draft. In the first round, he selected,
from USC, rookie Ronnie Lott.
In the second, he chose,
from Missouri, rookie Eric Wright.
And in the third, he took,
from Pittsburgh, rookie Carlton Williamson.
He also brought in veterans such as Jack Hacksaw Reynolds and Mean Fred Dean to anchor the defense.
Really, the essence of our success was beating the other man to the punch, is hitting him just before he's ready to hit you. Get there before they're quite ready to take you on. And I'm only talking about inches, but beat him to the punch. Now, where does that come from? From the sport of boxing, from fighting. When we take that field, that line field, it's just like Marvin Hagler. That's what it's going to be like. We're going to be unloaded on somebody.
Before a pivotal game against the Dallas Cowboys, Walsh pulled a few punches by mixing in a bit of humor.
You've got to have everybody 100% fresh for this ballgame. Somehow you've got to be fresh. In some cases it may mean a lot of sex, in others none. I don't know. I'm sick of them. I hope you guys are feeling the same way I do. And Danny White, he knows he's not going to play, so he's the guy mouthing off. We're going to kick your ass.
Dallas, coming into that game, was the team. We were trying to tell people we were pretty good, which was something that people needed a lot of convincing, as bad as we'd been for a couple years before that.
The year before, they had poured it on. We had a number of players injured. They just poured it on. They won 59-17 or something. Just destroyed us. So we play them about the 4th or 5th game in 1981, and we take them apart. There was an offensive game that I take pride in. It was that game, because we took that great Dallas defense, just took it apart. We knew just how to play against it. We beat them 45-14, and we could have scored more.
The 49ers were becoming the surprise story of 1981. And Joe Montana was receiving much of the credit for the team's newfound success.
Joe just fit Bill's concept of the offense perfectly.
Tell Freddie to split about 6 or 7 yards on this thing, and then get his up that field, and you watch that safety, okay?
You know, Joe was so into the offense because he helped develop it with Bill. The short, accurate passes. He knew where everybody was on the field, where they were supposed to be, how deep they were supposed to be. His accuracy standing in the pocket is just the same as if he's running to the right or left. He just has a way of getting it to the right spot. He used to tell me that if the defense is coming from one way, I'll hit you on the far shoulder so you can turn away from the defender. And I'm thinking, yeah, sure, right? And so I started looking for it, and sure enough, he was that accurate.
He wasn't a great player at Notre Dame just by passing through town. His greatness shows up. It showed up there, and it showed up since he's probably first put on a male supporter.
And I think that's why all of his teammates loved him so much, supported him so much, and played their ass off for him.
Clark outside on the left side, Solomon inside. There goes Montana. Draw through the middle goes the quarterback.
In Week 13, Montana led the Niners to their first division title in 9 years.
He is in. It's a touchdown for Joe Montana. He goes back to throw a pass. Looking downfield, he's going to throw it deep. There are plenty of Niners around, and it is intercepted at the 50-yard line. Here it is. It's counted down. Carlton Williamson intercepts. It is all over. The 49ers have beaten the Giants. The 49ers have won the Western Division title.
Looking back on it, that was Camelot. That was Camelot. That was the greatest experience for everyone involved to go through a season like that.
In the opening round of the playoffs, San Francisco played host to the New York Giants. Joe Montana had his best game of his young career, and the 49ers won easily. The stage was set for a date with destiny.
We had strummed them pretty good in the regular season, like 42-21 or something. And they weren't very happy, and all you heard going into it was, oh, we've never seen the real Cowboys, and we're going to have to teach these young guys a lesson.
First and goal from 7.5 yards away. Solomon in motion. Here's a pass play by Montana. It's caught, and it is down for a touchdown.
On the 49ers' opening drive, San Francisco traveled 63 yards for the game's first score.
Scoring the first time you got the ball, definitely sent a message because, they had said we hadn't seen the real Cowboys. Well, maybe when we scored 45 points, they hadn't seen the real Niners either.
After 6 lead changes, the battle between the 49ers and Cowboys was turning into one of the greatest games in NFL history.
White going back to pass, throws it down the middle, and it is caught, and into the end zone is Cosby.
A first down pass play puts Dallas back on top, and now the 49ers need a touchdown of their own to regain the lead.
When we came into that huddle, what I was thinking is we have 89 yards to go against America's team. How can we possibly do it?
They start at their 11-yard line. I wonder if they'll be throwing long. They'll be throwing off, and I'm sure of that.
With the Cowboys expecting Montana to pass, Bill Walsh decided to play smash-mouth football.
The play calling on that whole drive was incredible. It was just the greatest chess match of all time.
We ran it left effectively, we ran it right effectively.
And the running play, and the reverse to Solomon. Coming around inside the 45-40. He's down to the 35-yard line for a first down.
I think we were confusing him and keeping him off balance.
They're crossing up the Cowboys. Mr. Walsh is making some good calls here.
Lenville Elliott's final carry brought the ball to the 6-yard line. The next play would mark the end of one dynasty and the birth of another.
So fasten your seatbelts now. We got turbulence and plenty of it here at Candlestick Park now. Everything hangs in the balance now. The season, the outcome of a Super Bowl berth hangs in the balance.
How is this one going to end? Montana lines up at the 5. And on 3rd down and 3, he rolls right, looking to throw. And he throws into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! Touchdown, San Francisco! By Dwight Clark. He went way high in the air, and with 51 seconds remaining, he may have taken the 49ers to the Super Bowl.
I remember Bill pounding into everybody's heads that there was sort of a plan A and a plan B to the play. Plan A was Freddie Solomon, and hitting Freddie Solomon as Joe rolled out. Plan B was Dwight Clark, and they actually had practiced that sort of end of the play, throwing it up and having him go after it.
I don't think Dwight had ever jumped that high before, and I know he hasn't jumped that high since.
I never get tired of talking about it. I never get tired of seeing it. Because I, sign pictures and send them to people, I see that catch every day.
He talked about
be champions from July 7th. We're champions right now. We got one more to go. Congratulations for a tremendous effort. Tremendous.
With outside temperatures hovering around minus 22 degrees, the San Francisco 49ers met the Cincinnati Bengals in Super Bowl 16. In the first half, Joe Montana accounted for 2 touchdowns, which helped San Francisco build a 20-0 halftime lead.
Here's Montana throwing toward the end zone. Caught on the run by Cooper. He's got it. He's into the end zone. A 49er touchdown.
Late in the third quarter, the Bengals were threatening to cut the 49ers' lead to 6. Linebacker Dan Buns, number 57, kept Pete Johnson out of the end zone on first down. Helped on 2nd and goal from the 1. And then made the pivotal play in the greatest goal line stand in Super Bowl history.
Anderson will look and throw. Alexander does not get in. Dan Buns is the 49er who hit him at the half-yard line.
The play of a Dan Buns raises the level of everyone else. There was a person that had said to himself, I'm not going to be denied. There was a guy that says, look, Dwight Clark made the catch the week before, well, I'm making the play today. That was the uniqueness of playing with the 49ers, is that everybody felt that they can make a difference.
We got to go again, and that's what Forrest Gregg has already said. Go for it.
We got to go for it. We got to go for it.
From the 2-foot line, calling signals on 4th down, has the ball, hands it off. He's met at the goal line. I don't believe he got in. I don't believe he's in there. The 49ers have held, and listen to the Niners crowd across the way.
The 49ers goal line stand was emblematic of Bill Walsh and his coaching philosophy. Just beat your man to the punch. The 1981 roster did not include any stars. Well, not yet anyway. They believed in the system and they were tough. Just like their coach, the former boxer who knew how to win a fight and a football game. The sudden turnaround of the 49ers franchise caused pundits to question the team's success. In the NFC title game, the 49ers fell behind 21-0 before mounting a fourth-quarter comeback that tied the game. But on Washington's final drive, a questionable interference penalty on the Niners' defense allowed the Redskins to kick a game-winning field goal. Following the loss, 49ers defensive captain Dwight Hicks delivered an important message. He told his team to remember the feeling. In 1984, the 49ers used the loss as inspiration, and in doing so, set a franchise record by winning 15 regular season games.
Into the end zone, caught by Solomon, touchdown 49ers!
But instead of relying on the magic of Montana, the 49ers' dominance was spelled with defense.
We always felt like we didn't get enough respect. And I think a lot of it stemmed from what Bill had talked about early when he said, look, I don't want you guys to get out hit. And we were labeled a finesse football team because of his passing style, but the thing that he had a passion for was...
You beat the other man to the punch. Nobody notices it for 4 or 5 rounds. Then one guy starts to struggle because he's been beat to the punch by that much.
Led by All-Pro safety Ronnie Lott, the 49ers became the first team in NFL history to send all 4 members of its defensive backfield to the Pro Bowl. In the 1984 playoffs, the 49ers defeated the New York Giants and the Chicago Bears by a combined score of 44-10. San Francisco's performance in the playoffs was a microcosm of the season.
We felt that we should have been in it last year also. It came down a couple calls at the end of the game, and just wanting to get back and prove that we are a good football team.
Leading up to Super Bowl 19, Joe Montana and the 49ers were not the top story. Instead, all eyes were focused on second-year quarterback Dan Marino, who had just set an NFL record by throwing for over 5,000 yards and 48 touchdowns. But on pro football's biggest Sunday, it was Montana's accuracy and arm strength that stole the spotlight.
You know, they talk about Marino having a great arm, and I'll tell you, nobody could have thrown that ball any harder and on target than Montana did that time.
Well, he had plenty of zip.
Montana continually frustrated Miami's defense with efficient passing and effective running. In the second quarter, he engineered 3 successive touchdown drives.
Get it in, Joe! Montana drops back, short drop, fakes once. He's going to run it himself. He's into the end zone. Touchdown! And the 49ers are leaving the Miami Dolphins far to the rear now.
Defensively, San Francisco designed a scheme to pressure Marino into throwing slightly before his receivers broke open.
I think that maybe that pass rush is starting to put some heat on Marino and forcing him to do just a little bit of what he didn't want to do, throw quicker than he would like.
Marino, the league's least sacked quarterback, was dropped 4 times in Super Bowl 19. He was also intercepted twice by Carlton Williamson and number 21, Eric Wright. The brilliance of Marino was overshadowed by the precision of Montana. His 3rd touchdown pass capped one of the most lopsided Super Bowls in NFL history.
Caught by Craig on the way to the end zone, and Craig goes in for the score.
Came to see an offense and the wrong one showed up.
It's all over. Super Bowl 19 is in the record books. The 49ers have won it.
Dan Marino's year turned into Joe Montana's day as he earned Super Bowl MVP honors for the 2nd time. And for Bill Walsh, he became the first coach in league history to win 18 games in a single season.
Nobody knew what kind of offense we had. It was their offense. Right? Nobody knew. Our offense showed them, okay? And then, how in the hell were we going to stop Duper Clayton Marino? Nobody knew but us, right? All right. On their back. Game ball. Coach Bill Walsh.
That looks great. Play off, Dwight. Yeah. Read what you see.
In 1985, the 49ers set out to replenish their once potent receiving corps.
Pretty. I mean, that will be a beauty.
In that year's draft, Bill Walsh used the 16th pick on a flashy wide receiver from tiny Mississippi Valley State.
Fly pattern, Jerry Rice, touchdown.
Going to the pros, what goals have you set for yourself?
Well, number one, I would like to be the all-time receiver. They have some great receivers here, and I'm trying to follow in their footsteps.
When Rice arrived at 49ers training camp, he caught everyone's attention. But early on, it was the football that he couldn't grab hold of.
When I came in my first year, things was not going right. I think I wanted to bite off too much too soon, and I didn't have the experience.
He struggled his first 10 or so games, which was natural in this offense. I went through the same thing. You're You have to read and react a lot to the different coverages. If it's zone, you do one thing. If it's man, you do another thing. And then sometimes you forget to catch the ball. You're thinking about the route so much. And I think Jerry got caught up in that a little bit. But to me, it all came together for him on that Monday night against the Rams, his rookie year. He caught 2 or 3 touchdowns, 10 passes for 250 yards. To me, that's when it all clicked for him. He made Rookie of the Year in one night.
Goes way downfield, Rice is out there. He's got it. Touchdown 49ers.
And from then on, he became so confident.
By 1987, Rice was considered one of the best receivers in the NFL. He won the league's MVP award and set an NFL record with 22 touchdown receptions.
His mental strength is incredible. To catch a ball and think that he's going all the way, to be like a Gale Sayers and say, look, I'm not going to beat the knot.
Montana, quick pass, left flat to Rice, cuts inside, beats Gordon. He cuts up the middle, he's to the 25, he's to the 20, 10, 5, touchdown 49ers!
The thing about me, I like to catch the short passes.
Downfield to Rice, he's got it!
And turn them into 80, 90-yarder.
He's gonna go! Touchdown 49ers!
So many receivers, once they catch the football, they feel like their job is over and they just fall down. With me, I feel once I catch the football, the excitement is just starting.
From a physical standpoint, Jerry Rice has incredible stamina. Part of it's just God-given, part of it's conditioning. But he has stamina that takes him through a 20-game season. He can just strictly out-muscle and out-move his opposition because of that stamina.
Gets to the 2, carries the defender to the end zone, touchdown 49ers!
I have never met an individual that works harder than Jerry Rice. Probably the only person that I've ever seen compete as hard as Jerry Rice is Michael Jordan. That's what Jerry Rice has, his will to be the best.
Pass though is complete to Jerry Rice. He's ahead of everybody. Goodbye.
As Rice ran into the record books in 1987, his teammate Dwight Clark announced his retirement. In 9 years with San Francisco, Clark set a then franchise record with 506 receptions. His ability to corral the tough catch earned him the reputation as the NFL's premier possession receiver. Clark attributed his success to his quarterback, Joe Montana. In 1987, Montana recovered from back surgery and won his first passing title. He also set a team record with 31 touchdown passes. As the 49ers rolled into the playoffs with the best record in football, Montana experienced his worst day as a pro.
Joe Montana looking slower and slower as the age and the Viking pass rush begin to catch up with him.
In the third quarter, Walsh did the unthinkable.
Joe Montana was performing poorly. I had to replace Joe Montana with Steve Young. I had to replace Joe Montana in a serious game. That was tough. Steve went in and ran with the ball and threw, and we scored a couple of touchdowns, but we lost. After that, the media caught up to it.
Do you think Steve Young is a quarterback in the future? Yes, he is. He's great. Oh, man, he's something else, and we had to dig down deep in order to keep him contained because he was running us to death. Is Joe no longer fast enough?
Walsh's decision set forth a major quarterback controversy. Montana, once football's magic man, now appeared to be an ordinary Joe. Many speculated that the 1988 season would be his last as a 49er. The same was said about his coach.
I wasn't sure following 87 whether 1988 would be my last season. To be honest, I wanted to finish my career with a Super Bowl victory. There was a lot of stress there.
At the start of training camp in 1988, it was clear which story was attracting the most attention.
Our problem is we have two, and there's a quarterback controversy developing. We're going to have to select between Steve Young and Joe Montana. That's a critical area for us.
In just his second season with the team, Young did not want to live in the legend's shadow. But still, it was Montana's job to lose, as he opened the season with 3 touchdown passes.
Montana back to throw, steps up for the end zone, touchdown 49ers to Mike Wilson.
However, in the third quarter, he left the game with a bruised elbow. Young came in, but was unable to generate any offense, and the Niners held on to a narrow victory.
Steve Young wanted to play, and if he had a chance, he would. But he had great respect for Joe. He acknowledged Joe's greatness. Joe would play when he was healthy, and Joe and I discussed it.
The following week in New York, Walsh gave Young his first start as a 49er.
In trouble, running out to his left, going to be caught. He has fumbled the ball again. The 49ers have really self-destructed in this first quarter.
Young fumbled on San Francisco's first 3 possessions.
Steve struggled, and so reluctantly I went with Joe in the second half.
49ers trail it 17-13. 58 seconds on the clock. They have to go 77 yards.
With the game on the line, Walsh called for 76 all-go, a play he installed in practice earlier that week specifically for the Giants.
So the all go, and just concentrate on this part of it or this part of it. They will rotate past and leave this open, or stay inside and leave this open. So we've got a hell of a chance for it. 76 all go.
Montana to throw. Throws long for Rice down the sideline. He's on the 30, the 20, the 10. Touchdown 49ers. A 77-yard touchdown pass to Jerry Rice. Boy, and it is stunned silence here in the Meadowlands.
Despite Montana's last-minute heroics, the 49ers passing game struggled throughout the first half of the season.
Threw that ball behind the receiver. Montana's been intercepted 3 times today.
In fact, any success on offense was being sustained by running back Roger Craig.
I remember when Roger first got to the 49ers, and Wendell Tyler took Roger under his wing and said, hey, Roger, this is how you get it done. This is what it takes to survive in this league as far as, giving 110%. And then Roger started applying it to himself.
Craig's superhuman strength changed the perception of the 49ers as a finesse team. So did his high-knee running style.
A discouraging run for the defense by Roger Craig.
I used to be a hurdler in high school, a high hurdler at that. I think that really developed my running style as far as it enables me to break a lot of tackles. I think defenders are shy to tackle me in my knees because they can get punished as far as getting a knee in the chin, and that doesn't feel too good. Just like a boxer. I use my knees instead of my fists.
Like his running, Craig's nickname was just as unique.
They call me catfish because I kind of swim through the holes, and my eyes are really big when I run through the holes, as far as when the defenders are coming to tackle me. It's not that I'm afraid to get hit or anything, I like to see where I'm going.
In 1988, Craig had his best season as a pro. He rushed for a career-high 1,502 yards and led the team with 76 catches. At the Rams in Week 7, Craig played the game of his life.
Hand off to Craig over left tackle, sweeps outside, he goes to the end zone! Touchdown 49ers! He is the best back in the league right now.
He rushed for 190 yards, scored 3 touchdowns, and ripped off one of the greatest runs in NFL history.
There's a draw up the middle to Craig, and he breaks loose and runs loose. He gets use of the 30 to the 25. He's down to the 20. Breaks loose again. He's to the 10. 5. Touchdown 49ers. Oh, what a bonanza. Spectacular run by Roger Craig.
That run against the Rams exemplified what I was all about as a player.
He was busting people. He knocked a couple people down, knocked a couple of his own players out of the way. It might be the best run of his career.
When I see that run, I still get goosebumps.
That's highlight reel material forever.
2 weeks later, Craig's miraculous run may have been upstaged by his quarterback.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, cuts back at the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He dives, touchdown 49ers. You won't see many better runs in your life than that.
That was one heck of a run.
Don't mind him taking away some of your thunder today, huh?
I'll tell you, it helps out.
Steve Young's game-winning scamper was overshadowed by consecutive losses that included a last-second comeback by the struggling Cardinals. After 11 games, the 49ers' record stood at 6-5, and the team's chance for a postseason game looked slim.
We had those 2 losses staring at us, and there was a lot of stress there.
Kiss their playoff hopes goodbye.
With the '88 season all but packed in, Ronnie Lott called a meeting for players only. Inspired by his words, the 49ers came together and took an oath to play for each other. Against the defending world champion Redskins, John Taylor's 95-yard punt return broke the game open and changed the course of the 49ers season.
Snubbled the 50, jumps over at the 20, he's on in front. The 30, 20, 10, touchdown 49ers, a magnificent return.
Joe Montana also came to life in a 37-21 victory.
Everything was in sync following the Redskins' victory. Offensively, Joe Montana had now recovered completely. So we had Joe back.
Going to throw, rolls out, in trouble, slips, falls, lobs it to Craig, touchdown 49ers. What a play by Montana. Steps up, throws, has Taylor wide open, 45, 40, in front, touchdown 49ers.
The 49ers won 4 of their final 5 games to finish the season 10-6. They clinched the NFC West title and headed into a much-anticipated playoff rematch with the Vikings.
I think everybody was looking to play the Vikings. That would have given us a chance to redeem ourselves somewhat from that loss the previous year.
After scorching Minnesota for 34 points, the often shy Montana was surprisingly outspoken.
The teams that have beaten another team by a big margin have come back the next week and played terrible. And that is not going to happen to this ball club. We've opened the door. We're going to go through it next week, and we're going to kick ass and take no prisoners the week after.
The weather is going to be a factor here today with a minus 25 chill factor.
At bone-chilling Soldier Field, Montana backed up his promise by throwing 3 touchdown strikes.
He gets away at the 40. It's a foot race, 30. They won't touch him. It's touchdown 49ers.
San Francisco jumped out to an early lead and never looked back.
Miami, here we go.
Afterwards, Walsh called the win in Chicago the team's greatest road victory since his arrival in San Francisco.
Whoever would have thought it. on the coldest day in January, the finesse-ass 49ers will come in the backyard of the Bears and kick ass.
A few hours before Super Bowl 23, Bill Walsh prepared for the big game the way he always did.
I took a little nap. We want to demonstrate to the players you're totally at ease and totally relaxed and ready to go.
We collectively are the best team in football as we sit here. We are the best right now. Our opposition knows it. We know it. So when we take the field, we take it with great pride in ourselves that we've come this far. Now we take advantage of it.
The most dramatic moment really for me was prior to the game. Walking around the stadium in Miami, looking at the crowd, all by myself. And to be honest with you, I broke down some. For some days, I had planned to retire after the Super Bowl. No one knew it. I didn't want to distract the squad with it. I didn't want them to play one for Walsh or to be thinking about it. The players win the game for each other, not for a coach or an owner.
Walsh's adversary in Super Bowl 23 was his longtime friend, Sam Wyche.
Come on, man. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it.
I'm so nervous I just wet myself, and don't do the other.
Wyche had been an assistant on Walsh's original 49ers staff and helped groom a young Joe Montana. He knew number 16 was on.
Joe is hot, so let's cover him. He's throwing good warm-ups. I guess that means something.
He's back to throw.
In a close game, Montana tied the score at 13 early in the fourth quarter.
That's another great throw by Montana.
3:38 is the time remaining, so it'll be about a 40-yard attempt by Breach.
The Bengals regained the lead on a Jim Breach field goal.
And it is good! Breacher! And with 3:20 left to go, the Bengals take a 16-13 lead.
Starting from their own 8-yard line, Walsh knew he would have to go the distance for the victory.
We go running out on the field, and sure enough, they call a television timeout. And I was like yelling and screaming, "Come on, let's go. Let's get it going. This is the biggest drive of my life. If we want the ring, we got to go out and get it." And Joe looks at me, and he goes, "Hey, H." No, that's what he calls me, Harris. H. "Hey, H, check it out." I go, "What?" And he goes, "Hey, look over there in that end zone." And I look there, and he goes, "Hey, there's John Candy." And I go, "John Candy?" And sure enough, John Candy's sitting there eating some popcorn. And I look at him, I look at the clock, and there's 3 minutes to go in the game, of the biggest game of the year. And then the official blows a whistle, and the play starts.
The 49ers have a long way to go. Montana back to throw on first down. Throws over the middle, completes it to Craig. Craig is to the 16.
The Bengals are rushing with only 3 men.
Oh, I hate to see that.
So do I.
Cincinnati was playing more of a 3-4 defense, a different form of defense. So we attacked that defense.
2:35 remaining. Montana throws, sidelines, Rice, 30-yard line, out of bounds.
We knew on the outside we could get the ball to Jerry Rice.
Joe back to throw, steps up, throws, out here for Rice. He has it at midfield, goes out of bounds.
We know on the inside we could get the ball to Roger Craig on our Texas pattern.
2 wide receivers near side. Montana to throw, completes it up the middle to Craig.
I had a game plan. Joe could execute it. The players didn't have to talk to each other. They focused on what they were doing.
Montana trying to drive him the length of the field here with the game in the balance. 16-13, the Bengals lead. Montana back to throw. Throws over the middle. A fight gets for Rice. Rice into the 20. He's down to the 19 for a first down. Let the clock run. They haven't called timeout. They still haven't called a timeout. Montana going without a huddle. 52 seconds remaining. 50 seconds. Joe back to throw. He looks. He throws. He completes it to Craig. He's down to the 10. 40 seconds remaining. The 49ers will have to take a timeout here, and they do.
It's such a sight to watch this. It is, whether it happens now or not, to watch Joe Montana do this so many years, and to watch this absolute surgeon on the football field and one of the all-time greats do his thing again, it's almost like poetry.
That's the essence of the so-called West Coast offense, is repetition, developing skills, and then under pressure being able to perform.
Back to throw Montana. Steps up, throws. Touchdown! For the touchdown! A 10-yard pass. The 49ers have so
On the touchdown, Walsh called 20 halfback curl X up. It was the last play he would call as coach of the 49ers.
At the time the touchdown was scored, in the midst of all that, I knew that would have been my last game. It was very emotional, and it was the wear and tear had began to show.
Sam Weich comes across the field to look for Bill Walsh.
Also, I had a great affection for Sam Weich, because he and I had been like brothers.
I love you.
I love you. Congratulations. I'm happy for you like I've never been. Believe me. Congratulations. This is yours. You deserve it. Oh, me. That was a good game, huh? Great game. Everybody sold out this week. Everybody. Damn, it's great, isn't it?
It was interesting. After that game, I saw the men celebrating with Eddie DeBartolo and everyone, and almost felt like an outsider, almost in a matter of seconds. An outsider who just won the Super Bowl. I think it was time for me to leave. At that point, I knew it was time to say that, and that's when I came apart.
This is a tough moment in a way, because was this the final game on the sideline for a great coach, Bill Walsh?
That was when I stepped away.
Emotional moment right now with the coach down here inside the locker room, Jack.
Thank God my son was there with me, and we sort of embraced and got through it.
Super Bowl 23 established the 49ers as a dynasty. As for Bill Walsh, he'll probably be remembered as an offensive genius who won 3 titles. But above all, his legacy will live on with the men he molded into fighters and champions.
Tell Freddie to split about 6 or 7 yards on this thing, and then get his up that field, and you watch that safety, okay?
Bill Walsh was the architect behind the 49ers dynasty.
Looking toward the end zone, now throwing, fires. It's caught by Solomon. Touchdown for the 49ers!
In 1989, Walsh handed the reins to George Seifert, who took over a team that was coming off a Super Bowl victory.
Well, I feel fortunate. I mean, Bill developed a tremendous organization here. You know, I've inherited something that's to be cherished and taken care of.
The George Seifert era got off to a rocky start. Opening the season against perennial also-rans Tampa Bay and Indianapolis, the 49ers needed late heroics to beat both. 2 shaky wins by a total of 10 points.
On his hip, Montana to the end zone! Touchdown 49ers! He brings it in himself! Come on, baby, let's go!
In week 3, more late heroics in a comeback that jump-started what was a 14-2 season.
Wilson gonna go all the way! Taylor will go! It's a touchdown for the 49ers!
Joe Montana threw for 428 yards and 5 touchdowns, including 4 in a fourth-quarter flurry.
Montana to throw. He wants the end zone. Rice has got it! Touchdown 49ers!
1989 was the best season in Montana's great career. His 112.4 quarterback rating was a single-season record. He threw for over 3,500 yards, over 9 yards per pass attempt, and 26 touchdowns with just 8 interceptions.
This is Joel's 11th season, and to me he's reading defenses even better. He's in more control. He's just playing the best ball right now, and each year he seems to get better and better.
He's got a great accuracy and great touch. And his experience and his knowledge of our offense and where people are on defense, you just couple all that together, and then that little extra special something that no one seems to be able to define, and you got perhaps the greatest quarterback that's ever played.
Montana was only half of the NFL's most prolific duo. Jerry Rice, in his 5th year, was again putting up huge numbers. Rice led the league with almost 1,500 receiving yards, and his 17 touchdowns left little doubt who was the top wide receiver in the NFL.
Montana wants to throw. He's got Rice. He's to the 40. He's to the 30. Taylor gives him a block. He's down to the 10. He's into the end zone. Touchdown 49ers.
The Niners had hoped to clinch a 4th straight division title in Los Angeles, but they trailed 17-0, struggling against a Rams team that had beaten them earlier in the year. It was John Taylor to the rescue. Rice's sidekick had been the hero in Super Bowl 23, and he helped start the comeback with a 92-yard touchdown catch. His 96-yard touchdown cut the deficit to 4.
Joe, a slant into Taylor. Taylor breaks a tackle, cuts across the middle, breaks another to the 30. He's down the sideline. He's to midfield. He's to the 40. He's got a blocker in front of him. He's to the 10. He's to the 5. It's a touchdown. John Taylor.
It was probably a spectacular performance, as I've seen by one player in one particular game that I was a part of. The Rams would have won the division, I believe, had they won that ball game, and by our winning the game, we not only won the division, but home field advantage.
San Francisco got the ball right back, and Roger Craig finished off the comeback.
Hand off to Craig. He's into the end zone. Touchdown 49ers. They have the lead for the first time in the game.
The dramatic 30-27 win gave the 49ers momentum as they bid to repeat as champions. After beating the Vikings to start the postseason, the 49ers and Rams squared off for the 3rd time of the season. The first 2 games were decided by a total of 4 points. This one was not nearly as close. With the Rams off their back, San Francisco grabbed the organization's 4th Super Bowl trophy in relatively easy fashion.
Complete to right, into the end zone. Touchdown 49ers.
George Seifert's first season ended like Bill Walsh's last, on top of the NFL.
The San Francisco 49ers keep their date with the history books. In one of the greatest football games ever played by one team, they become the first team in the history of the National Football League to win back-to-back Super Bowls since the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The 49ers are the team of the decade, and they're starting the 90s looking like the team of the 90s. I want to congratulate you. I want to congratulate all the players, Coach Seifert, and your entire staff. Congratulations.
Here it is, baby. Next year, 3-peat. We're going for 3 again. We're the first team in the history to do that. That's our next goal.
The team of the 80s hoped to carry their success to the 90s. The more things changed, the more they remained the same. Wins continued to pile up despite some key losses. Hall of Famer Ronnie Lott moved on, as did versatile running back Roger Craig. Both had been mainstays throughout the 80s. Both had been key members on 4 Super Bowl teams. Both moved to the Raiders after the 1990 season. But the defense remained hard-hitting. The offense stayed high-octane. They even survived a transition bigger than Walsh to Seifert, following a 1990 season where Montana threw for a team record in passing yards. The 3-time Super Bowl MVP gave way to Steve Young.
He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, cuts back at the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He died. Touchdown 49ers.
Steve really faced obstacles when he took over. First, the public. Joe Montana was their hero. But I knew that if we had Steve, we could certainly develop a lineage from Joe and finally to Steve and basically sustain a so-called dynasty.
Montana's 49ers career ended much like Steve Young's began, losing in the NFC Championship game. Bidding for an unprecedented third straight Super Bowl, Montana was battered by the Giants in the 1990 NFC title game.
And Montana was clobbered. Leonard Marshall caught him with his helmet right in the middle of the back.
Steve Young took the 49ers back to the NFC title game 2 years later.
Backside pressure. He gets the ball away. Downfield. Rice is there. He's to the 30. He's going to win the race. 10, 5, touchdown 49ers. He simply out-sprinted Isaac Holt into the end zone. 63-yard touchdown pass. But wait, there is a flag. Holding.
Losing in the NFC Championship became the trend of the early 90s. After falling short in 1992, it was a rerun the next year. Again, the Cowboys prevented Steve Young from reaching the ultimate game. The team that made a habit of winning Super Bowls in the 80s was now the team unable to get over the hump in the 90s.
And a handoff to Smith coming right behind. Easy touchdown, Emmitt Smith. Whoa, look.
San Francisco won 7 out of 9 to start the 1994 season. But like they had the previous 2 seasons, the Dallas Cowboys loomed.
We got a lot to do, girl. We got a lot to do.
The 49ers had been preparing for the November matchup against the Cowboys since the previous January.
And he sends it way down the left sideline for Rice. There's one-on-one coverage. Jerry makes the catch, breaks the tackle. He gets by, round into the end zone.
Passes to Dallas. San Francisco showed it would be pushed around no more.
Unbelievably, this time throws. He gets it to Brett Jones into the end zone. Touchdown 49ers. Bootleg pass to Brett Jones puts the game away.
Look at the reaction by Steve Young. He has gotten rid of some things on his shoulder.
Did we do it? Did we do it? We did it, didn't we?
Steve has nothing to prove. Guys, you know, this is just one obstacle that he really don't overcome. So I don't think he has anything to prove anymore.
Young showing class under enormous pressure the last few years because of the Joe Montana shadow.
Steve Young wasn't a kid anymore. He had matured into the NFL's top-rated quarterback.
San Francisco down 27-24, 2 minutes to play. Young to throw, quick slant in, Jerry Rice, end zone, touchdown 49ers!
Young set several club records in 1994, and he was voted the NFL's most valuable player. But he still had not beaten the Cowboys when it counted. In 1994, he would get his chance.
Today is the showdown. They met during the regular season in what proved to be a classic battle. And here we go again.
This year would be different. The turning point came 3 plays into the game.
Back to throw again is Aikman. Some pressure, gets the pass away. Eric Davis picks it off. He's got a lane down the left side. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown 49ers! It is 14-0 San Francisco. This game is 3 minutes old. My goodness. Back to throw is Aikman. Has time. Sends it down the left side. Ball is caught and knocked down. Yes, it is a fumble. 49ers have the ball again. Tim McDonald.
To this point, Steve Young had done it all, except beat Dallas with a Super Bowl berth at stake. Less than 8 minutes into the game, Young and the 49ers had a 3-touchdown lead and the Super Bowl in their sights.
Touchdown 49ers! Touchdown 49ers! What a play! 28-yard touchdown pass San Francisco!
won't have to hear any more talk about Steve Young getting to the Super Bowl. Now he'll have to win one.
You know, you wake up in the morning of the Super Bowl and you say to yourself that tonight, my life will be different. One way or another, my life is going to be different. That's an interesting way to feel in the morning as you're eating breakfast.
Super Bowl 29. Steve Young grabbed his place in 49ers history in a big way.
Record setters right here, baby. First team to bring home 5.
And a play fake. And Young wants to throw. And he is looking for Jerry. And Rice is there. And he's into the end zone. Touchdown 49ers! First touchdown of the game. Comes after only a minute and 24 seconds. 44 yards. Touchdown pass to Rice. He sets another record.
It was Steve Young's greatest day as a pro, and the organization returned to glory, further establishing itself as the greatest organization in pro football.
Shoulder catch, bounces away. Oh, what a bonanza! Bounces away again. A spectacular touchdown catch. 51-yard touchdown play.
I've thrown 4 a number of times, but never more than that. And so if you would have told me that I was going to throw 6, yeah, it was impossible. I mean, that's fantasy. And it was one of the rare experiences where the reality far outweighed the dream. Usually the reality never kind of quite lives up to it. It far surpassed it. It was beyond my wildest imagination.
Someone take the monkey off my back, please! Oh, it was a gorilla!
This Super Bowl was the final culmination, the underlining an exclamation mark next to the phrase, best organization in professional sport.
Somebody's got to be the best. Somebody. It might as well be us. Don't be afraid to say you're number 1.
The 49ers had become the yardstick others measured themselves against. With 5 Super Bowl titles, the organization set the golden standard. Their dominance faced a serious threat in the mid-90s when the NFL took a step toward improving competitive balance by instituting the salary cap.
The salary cap was implemented to give every owner a chance to hold up the championship trophy. But the reverse effect of that is that every team has a down cycle because of the salary cap.
The 49ers won a Super Bowl in the first year of the salary cap.
The San Francisco 49ers are the first team in the 75th year of the National Football League to win 5 Super Bowl championships.
But in the years following, the team was forced to make personnel decisions they did not have to make in the past.
Young to throw, way down the left side. Guess who's there? Jerry Rice.
In spite of the new challenges facing the organization, they continued to win. The offense continued to dominate. Steve Young was entrenched as one of the league's premier passers. Jerry Rice aimed to rewrite the record books.
Away from Randall, throws way downfield. Rice has number 3. Touchdown 49ers, Jerry Rice. 31-yard touchdown pass. And Jerry Rice has done it. He's got the record. Rice passes. James Lofton is the number 1 receiver in career yardage ever.
The 49ers also remained strong through another coaching transition.
The San Francisco 49ers are very pleased to announce that Steve Mariucci has been appointed the head coach of this franchise.
Mariucci replaced George Seifert in 1997.
We're out in front of this division, and we're going to stay there. All right? All you guys with nicks, keep treating. We need everybody, don't we? We need everybody healthy on this football team.
It's showtime. Let's go here. Let's go, JJ. Let's go, baby.
Play fake. Young to throw. Way down the right sideline. And it's Stokes. He caught it. He caught it. He makes a leaping, diving catch like a Superman, stretching for all he was worth.
With Jerry Rice sidelined for the season, Mariucci pulled the team together. Another 13-win season. Another division title for the 49ers.
He's into the end zone. Touchdown 49ers.
The 49ers went unbeaten at home in 1997. and their 11-game winning streak marked the longest for a rookie head coach. However, Mariucci's season ended like it had for his predecessor the previous 2 seasons, losing in the playoffs to the Green Bay Packers.
First and goal at the 10. Big play for San Francisco. Throws to the end zone. Oh, what a catch! Stokes! Yes! And they say caught it out of bounds. Wow. I don't understand that either. Favre passes down the right flat to Henderson. He fumbles the ball. 49ers pick it up, and they're going to call it an incompletion.
Chuck Levy's fourth-quarter kickoff return was the 49ers' only touchdown on a frustrating day. When it came to the Packers, it seemed as if nothing ever went right for the 49ers. The loss to the Packers in Mariucci's first year was magnified by the fact that they had lost to Green Bay in the playoffs the previous 2 seasons.
By Desmond Howard back at the 30.
In 1996, the Packers trampled the 49ers on their way to a Super Bowl title.
To the 45, to the 40, he may go. 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, and no flags anywhere.
San Francisco's Packer problems started in 1995, when Green Bay ended the 49ers' hopes for a Super Bowl repeat.
Back to pass, Steve Young swings it off to the left to Derek. Fumble ball. Pick it up. Down the sidelines. Newsom to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Green Bay.
Amid coaching and player changes, 2 things remain constant: the 49ers winning double-digit games in the regular season, and the Packers ending their Super Bowl dreams.
17, can we run the shake to Jerry?
1998 felt different, and the magic was working from week 1.
Out, open receiver, Rice. He's got it at the 10. Cuts in. He might score. Jerry Rice is back in the end zone. Touchdown, 49ers.
Jerry Rice returned from his lost 97 season to spark the team against the Jets. The 1998 team had the second most productive offense in league history. They also had their share of dramatic moments.
Young straight back drop. Steps up in the pocket, takes off. Lots of room up the middle. He might go. Down to the 10, down to the 5. Cuts to the right, pushes off into the end zone. No! What a score by Steve Young for the touchdown.
The 49ers led the league in rushing. Steve Young set team records for passing yards and touchdowns. And for the first time in NFL history, a team had 3 wide receivers with more than 60 catches. All facets were on display in an amazing comeback against Indianapolis. 17 fourth-quarter points proved this team had the mettle to thrive in tough situations.
24-yard field goal will win the game for San Francisco. 31. Wild card weekend, the San Francisco 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. A series that's been dominated by the Green Bay Packers for the last 5 games. Will it change this afternoon?
The big offense,
Drop the ball.
with another Packers loss appearing imminent. Owens again. The win ended.
Hey, where's T.O.? T.O. They told me I was going to have to make a big play. Steve gave me a chance, and I appreciate every teammate I got in here.
Yes, sir.
The torch was officially passed from Rice to Owens in December of 2000. Jerry Rice's final home game in San Francisco.
16 years, man.
Talk to me, dog.
Been in the house like on Sundays.
Right.
No other place I'd rather be right now.
Rice caught 7 passes in his final game. Owens caught 20, breaking a 50-year-old NFL record.
Pump fake, it throws way down the right side. Owens catches it into the end zone. Touchdown, 49ers.
They say Randy Moss, Mr. Clutch. They better take another look. 8-1 on a mission.
13 catches today already for Terrell Owens. And so Owens creating a new record every time he catches the ball now.
In some way, it was a passing of the torch, I suppose. It was the ending of just such a fantastic career, and then maybe in some ways a new beginning for another up-and-coming superstar.
I think it's time for me to go, but San Francisco, I always love you guys, okay? You guys are #1 for me, okay?
At the same time, the organization was coping with the departure of another legend.
Obviously, this is a tough decision, but I know that I've made the right one, and I really feel it in my heart. And so I retire from the great game of football today. And I'll miss the 49er faithful. And when I walk down the streets of San Francisco, we forged a relationship. And those are the best ones.
Next in line for their quarterback lineage was Jeff Garcia. A product of the CFL, Garcia's 49ers career started much like Montana or Young. He set franchise records for completions and yards in his first full season. Garcia to Owens appeared ready to take the baton from Young to Rice.
Look for that connection for many years to come, Garcia to Owens.
After a pair of down years, the 49ers returned to the playoffs in 2001.
What an amazing comeback by San Francisco.
It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time.
A quarter of their wins came thanks to fourth quarter comebacks.
Who can make a big play? I can.
It was once again like the good old days.
It's Buchanan. Garcia to throw, and he throws way down the right sideline. Owens is all alone. He's got it. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, 49ers. San Francisco wins it in overtime on a 52-yard touchdown pass to Terrell.
I was looking for you up in the box. I couldn't find you.
Oh, that last call, though. That last call. I sort of figured it might happen. Oh, that was beautiful.
The defense had also returned to the forefront. In the final 6 weeks of the season, they had 3 shutouts. But their most impressive moment came in a Week 15 goal line stand against the Eagles.
Hand off to Staley, sweeps to the right and falls down, trying to cut in around Winborn, and he's dropped for maybe a foot loss outside the 1-yard line. We'll see if McNabb just does it himself. McNabb goes back to throw, rolls out to his right, he's got the corner maybe. He is grabbed and he didn't get there! He didn't get there, but there's a flag on the play!
A penalty flag gave the Eagles a new set of downs.
Gives it to Staley, dives, and he is grabbed by Killins and didn't get there again. This will be one of the all-time goal line stands if the Eagles can't get it in with this many opportunities.
How about that goal line stand?
The swagger was back in San Francisco, and although the team failed to return to the top of the NFL mountain, they were able to provide their fans with more memorable playoff moments.
They have a 3rd down and 4 at the 26-yard line of the Giants. They trail 38-14, so they've got a lot to do.
In the wild card round, the 49ers found themselves buried in a 24-point hole. They continued to push, putting together the second-largest comeback in postseason history.
Bootleg by Garcia. He only needs a block to go in from Stokes. He's in. Touchdown 49ers. How about this? They've really got some momentum developing now. Has time. Throws for the end zone. Caught! Touchdown 49ers. Tie streaks.
Jeff Garcia just threw the perfect pass. What a comeback.
In Montana, in Young-like fashion, Garcia led the 49ers back. And in an incredible final sequence, the 49ers escaped with a miraculous win.
Wow, what a day. 39-38, 49ers. And here we go. Ready for the snap by Junkin. Here it comes. It's another bad snap. And now they're going to have to try to throw for it. He's going to throw it into the end zone. There's a giant there. It's incomplete. Game is over. Game is over. 49ers win.
The next generation of 49ers will once again rely on a new head coach and a new quarterback. Mike Nolan, son of former coach Dick Nolan, was hired in 2005. The same year, Alex Smith was selected with the first overall pick. Only time will tell if they add another chapter to the 49ers' storied history.
This NFL Films production has been brought to you by NFL Network. Watch the National Football League 24 hours a day on NFL Network.